Welcome, Oceania cruisers. My name is Frank Hyder, and I am an artist in residence traveling with Oceania on Marina and on Riviera and on Insignia since about 2012. Many of you may have had the pleasure of cruising with me. If not, I hope we will in the future. Anyway, a common event for cruisers is to go on excursions. When they go on excursions, they generally take a camera or a cell phone with them to take photographs. When you take these photographs and you come back home, you want to have some memories, but sometimes it's kind of a lost thing. You don't know what to do with the photos. So what I'm going to do today is show you how you can take an ordinary cell phone picture on an Oceania excursion. Take that picture, send it to your computer, print it out on your household printer, and then make your own personal art using your own original photograph. So, I've already taken a photograph from my very last cruise, which was, I was in Rio de Janeiro, and while in Rio, I took a photograph of this mural on the streets of Rio de Janeiro, and I erected my famous Janus, which has been on many of cruises on many different ships with Oceania for the last 5 years. Anyway, now I printed them out on the household printer. I have here an ordinary package of watercolor. This is what's called a watercolor block. I'm going to put my photograph here for the time being, and then the other ingredient I'm going to use is called transfer paper. Transfer paper is what you and I knew as copy paper when we were children and went to school, and today it's used to make art transfers. So it comes in this nice box. You can get it in any art supply store. It has a messy dark side and a light and smooth side. You put the dark side down on the surface that you're going to draw on. You put your photograph on top of that with the face up. And then using a pencil or a paintbrush, you then proceed to draw the outlines of what it is you would seek to transfer to the surface below. So I'm going to do this very quickly. You can be as neat as you like. I've actually had people on cruises take drawings like this and work on them for weeks and become very, very intricate with pen and ink, with crayons, and with watercolor pencils. Sometimes people use them in more imaginative and more liberal ways, treating the material much more as a starting off point and moving into a much more complex, personal approach to making a painting. But for now, I'm showing you how to get a good start. I tend to look at these kinds of drawings as being a little bit like the railings on the side of a mountain road. Having a basic line drawing underneath of what I'm going to paint on or draw on top of allows me to feel safe, that I'm not going to drive off the edge of the cliff, so to speak, and get lost in what I'm doing. So now I've done a rather quick tracing, and then I'm going to lift my paper and my image away, and I will show you. This is a very simple blocked in line drawing. Using this, I can now start with watercolor, or with colored pencils, crayons, with collage, or anything I want. I've created what we call a map or a plan for an image to go onto your page. And now what I'm going to do is show you how to mount an image onto a working board. This happens to be what we call a canvas panel. It's actually cotton canvas that is attached to a cardboard backing, and it has what we call gesso or primer into the canvas. Now, my image is a little bigger than this board. These boards can be purchased in a variety of sizes, and you can actually even cut them down a little bit to the exact size that you may want. They cut easily enough with a simple X-Acto knife. Okay, but for our purposes, I'm going to cut my drawing, my image. So what I'm going to do is I lay my board on top of the photograph, and then I'm going to take a pencil, and I'm going to very quickly just sort of mark off what I'm going to cut away. Then, picking up a pair of scissors, I just trim the drawing, the page, the working image, to the size that I have traced onto the paper. So after I've done this, I know that this will fit onto the canvas panel, and I am on my way. All right, so now I've cleared the image to the correct size. Then using acrylic gloss medium, which is really no difference between gloss medium and matte medium. Acrylic medium comes in small jars like this. It comes in a much larger size like this, and it comes in a medium size. So there are a range of sizes. Depending on how much art making you're going to make, I recommend you get the size that you feel comfortable with. Now, acrylic medium is not dangerous, and it is not really messy, but it does, when it dries, not want to come off. So I quickly put on a pair of latex gloves to guarantee that when I'm done, my manicure is not going to be disturbed. Okay, so now I open the acrylic medium, I turn my image this way, I take my canvas panel and put it here, and then using a paintbrush with a slightly about an inch wide bristle, I'm going to spread the acrylic medium onto the canvas. Now, when you went to grade school, they taught you how to glue. And when Miss Jones taught you how to glue, she really didn't care if you knew how to glue as much as she was interested in knowing if you were going to be a socially proper person, someone who was not going to pick up the brush and hit the kid next to you or decide to eat the glue or drink the glue, depending on the circumstance. But I do really care that you know how to glue things correctly. Now I'm referring to this medium as glue. It is not glue, it's acrylic medium, which is the stuff that acrylic paint is made with. It is a terrific product, and once you put something together with the acrylic medium, it is going to stay together. So now I have applied it to both surfaces. I put my image down on the board, and I press with my hands to get it to lie flat. And then I can take a little paint roller, or a brayer as this is called, and roll it out smoothly like this. Once I've done that, you'll see that a little bit of the paint or the medium starts to ooze out the side. Don't worry about that. You want that to happen. I scoop that back up with my brush. I'm going to put that on the top side of my painted surface, my to-be painted surface. When this goes on, and these two things, front and back side, dry, this is forever. It will not come apart no matter what you try to do to it. So this is the best method to use for collage, the best method to use for decoupage, and for what I'm about to use this for, I now have many options. When this settles, I can paint on top of this with acrylics, I could draw on top of it with oil pastels, I could paint on it with oil paint. All of those mediums will work here. So now I have succeeded in attaching this to the surface. I need only to wait for it to dry.